3 hours and 14 minutes. That's how much time the average knowledge worker wastes every single day on tasks that AI could handle right now. Not someday. Right now. That's over 750 hours a year, nearly 20 working weeks gone. And the wild part? Most people are already using AI tools. They're just using them wrong. In the next 10 minutes, you're going to see exactly which AI tools are actually worth your time, how to use them in ways that compound your output, not just shave off 5 minutes here and there, and why stacking these tools together creates a productivity multiplier that most people completely miss. I'll also reveal something near the end about how AI tools are quietly changing the way top performers structure their entire workday, and it's not what you'd expect. Let's get into it. Let's start with the task that eats most people's days alive: writing. Emails. Reports. Slack messages. Proposals. LinkedIn posts. Most professionals spend between 28 and 40% of their workweek just writing and responding to written communication. That's not a productivity problem. That's a structural trap. Here's where ChatGPT, specifically GPT-4o, actually earns its reputation. But not the way most people use it. Most people open ChatGPT, type "write me an email," get something generic, cringe at it, and go back to writing it themselves. That's not the tool failing. That's a prompting problem. The fix is what's called a role context task prompt. Here's a real example. Instead of typing "write a follow-up email to a client," you type "you are a senior account manager at a B2B SaaS company. The client, a mid-size retailer, attended our demo 2 days ago but hasn't responded." Write a short, warm follow-up email that references their specific concern about integration complexity and moves toward booking a second call. The output from that second prompt is something you can send immediately, no editing required. That one-shift role, context, task is the difference between AI being a toy and AI being a multiplier. Save that as a framework. You'll use it every day. But here's where it gets interesting, because writing is just one layer. The real-time sink for most people is research and synthesis, and that's where a different tool completely changes the game. Think about the last time you needed to understand something fast. A new market. A competitor. A technical topic outside your expertise. You probably opened 6 browser tabs, skimmed 4 articles, got distracted by 2 of them, and still felt fuzzy on the answer 40 minutes later. Sound familiar? Perplexity AI was built specifically to solve this. It's a research tool, not a chatbot, that searches the live web, synthesizes information from multiple sources, and gives you cited, up-to-date answers. It's the tool I'd recommend to anyone who uses Google more than 5 times a day for research. Here's a practical use case. You need to brief your team on a competitor's recent product launch. Open Perplexity, type, "summarize the key features, pricing, and market response to S latest product announcement." You get a structured, sourced brief in under 30 seconds. Things that would have taken you an hour of digging. The sources are cited inline, which means you can verify fast and you're not flying blind on accuracy. That's huge when you're taking this information into a meeting or a client call. Quick note, if you're finding this useful, hitting subscribe takes literally 2 seconds and it genuinely helps me keep making content like this. There's no filler here, no padding, just tools that actually work. Now, back to the good stuff. There's another layer to research that most people skip entirely, and that's your own documents and files. This is where Notebook LM from Google comes in. You upload your own files, PDFs, meeting notes, research papers, transcripts, and it becomes a conversational AI that knows your material cold. Journalists use it to query interview transcripts. Consultants use it to interrogate research reports. Founders use it to search through investor documents. You ask it questions like you'd ask a colleague who has read everything. It doesn't hallucinate content from outside your files, it stays grounded in what you've given it. That's the key advantage over general chatbots. But here's where it gets really interesting, because we haven't touched the biggest time drain of all yet. Did you know the average professional sits through 23 hours of meetings per week? 23 hours. And studies consistently show that roughly 50% of that time is considered unproductive by the people in the room. That's not a meeting problem, that's a documentation and follow-through problem. This is where AI meeting tools have quietly become the highest ROI category in the entire productivity stack. Two tools dominate here, Read.ai and Fireflies.ai. Read.ai integrates directly with Zoom, Google Meet, and Microsoft Teams. It records, transcribes, and this is the part people don't realize, it generates a meeting summary, pulls out action items by person, and even gives you an engagement score that shows who was paying attention and when the energy in the meeting dropped. That last feature sounds gimmicky until you use it to restructure how you run recurring team meetings. Fireflies.ai does something slightly different. Its strength is search. Every meeting you've ever recorded becomes searchable. You can type pricing objection and pull up every moment across 6 months of sales calls where that topic came up. For sales teams, support teams, or anyone who needs to learn from patterns across conversations, that's an enormous deal. The workflow here is simple, let the AI document and summarize, so you only spend human attention on the decisions and relationships. That's the shift. Here's a pattern interrupt for you, a question. How many AI tools do you currently have open right now that you've used in the last 48 hours? 1? Maybe 2? Most people download 5 tools in a burst of enthusiasm, use them inconsistently, and then go back to their old workflow. That's not an AI problem. That's an integration problem. The professionals getting serious leverage from AI aren't using more tools. They're using fewer tools, deeper, connected to each other through automation. And the connective tissue is a tool called Zapier, or for more technical users, Make. Here's a real workflow that takes about an hour to set up and saves around 3 hours a week. You use Read.ai to auto-generate your meeting summaries. A Zapier automation pushes those summaries into a designated folder in Notion. Then you use ChatGPT's API, connected through Zapier, to transform each summary into a formatted action item email that goes out to everyone on the call automatically. 1 meeting. 0 manual follow-up writing. Every time. That's not magic. That's just understanding that these tools have APIs, and those APIs can talk to each other. You don't need to code. Zapier is drag and drop. The mental model shift is, stop thinking about AI tools as individual apps and start thinking about them as components in a system. Now here's the thing I promised you at the start, the insight about how top performers are actually restructuring their days using AI. And this one surprised me when I started looking into it. The highest leverage users of AI tools aren't using them to do more. They're using them to protect time. Specifically, they're using AI to compress their reactive work emails, summaries, research, documentation into a single 45-minute window each morning. Everything that used to scatter across the full day gets batched and handled by AI-assisted workflows before 9:30 a.m. The rest of the day becomes deep work, creative thinking, and high-stakes human interaction. Cal Newport, who wrote Deep Work, talks about this idea of protecting cognitive bandwidth. AI tools are now the practical mechanism that makes that possible for normal working people, not just academics with no meetings. The top performers aren't just saving time. They're redesigning what their day feels like. That's the real unlock. Here's what you can action right now. 1. Try the role context task prompt structure in ChatGPT today. Pick one email or document you need to write and apply the framework. You'll see the quality difference immediately. 2. Sign up for Perplexity AI. Use it for your next research task instead of Google. The free tier is genuinely powerful. 3. If you're on Zoom or Google Meet, connect Red.ai or Fireflies.ai to your next meeting. Let it run. Review the summary afterward and notice what it caught that you would have forgotten. 4. Identify one repetitive task in your week that moves between 2 apps. Look it up in Zapier's template library. There's a good chance the automation already exists and takes 20 minutes to activate. 5. Block a 45-minute AI batch window in your morning calendar this week. Handle all your reactive AI-assisted tasks in that window. See what it does to the rest of your day. If this video saved you time or gave you something genuinely useful, subscribe. I post every week and the next video is all about how to build a personal AI assistant using free tools that connects to your calendar, your notes, and your email. It'll be out within the next 7 days and it builds directly on everything we covered here. One question before you go, drop it in the comments. Which of these tools are you already using, and which one are you going to try first? I read every reply.